It seems to be the case that almost every morning when I do one of these riot segments, I have to inform you that last night was the worst night we have seen yet. And it's true. In Portland, a man believed to be a Trump supporter wearing a Blue Lives Matter patch was executed. And I mean it. This wasn't a clash. This wasn't someone fighting with someone else. It was quite literally a man seen walking down the street. You hear someone yell something like, "We've got another," there's some unintelligible garble right here. Some people believe he said, "We got another Trumper right here." I don't know if that's what he said. He may have said something else. And then this extremist, leftist, fires 2 shots, killing the man, shooting him in the chest. There was no fight. There was no scuffle. It was just a guy walking down the street. You know what's funny is I laughed when Scott Adams said Republicans will be hunted. And I think it's because because I and many other people probably took the most extreme interpretation of what that meant. Like, you know, a bunch of crazy leftists, you know, like the movie The Hunt, like tracking people down and gunning them down in the street and things like that. But I think the simpler interpretation is that they just were. They were looking for Trump supporters. They found one and they killed him. The funny thing about all of this, and I don't mean funny, haha, I just mean like the weird thing, is that they're claiming the same thing about Kyle Rittenhouse. And it made me realize, I believe the time for talk is over. There's no negotiating at this point. I don't know what that means moving forward. You can take it however you want, but listen. When Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha was trying to protect the community and he was rendering aid to the rioters, he got threatened by a violent and angry mob. There's video of this. The 2 men who died were actually threatening him and his friends earlier in the night. We know that Rittenhouse was working in Kenosha. Well, this is according to his defense, mind you. The rifle wasn't taken from across state lines. The business owner asked for help, and Kyle was rendering aid. They attacked him. They chased him. Someone fired, and Kyle defended himself. We've seen the videos of what happens when people don't defend themselves. The man sitting on the ground in Oregon when that guy, Keith Love or whatever, runs up and punts him in the face. When you give in, they take advantage and they stomp you. Kyle Rittenhouse defended himself. Now he's being charged with 6 counts of, I believe, homicide, even though according to the defense, the state's witness wasn't even there. But his extradition is being delayed. His extradition hearing is being delayed. So we'll see how that plays out. We're at a point where we can watch the videos. We have the New York Times saying it was defense, but the left says it was murder. The left says he was hunting. The left says that if you are defending yourself, it is an act of extremism. And Facebook will ban you if you praise him or defend him in any way. And GoFundMe shut down the fundraiser for his legal defense while supporting the extremists who are destroying buildings and burning down our communities. There's only one path forward based on everything we're seeing. Our communities are going to burn. The police aren't showing up. A Trump supporter was just executed in the street. I mean, quite literally. They yelled, "We got one," turned, bang, bang, dead. No talking, nothing. They saw the guy and they said, "That's all I need to see." Dead. What is the left saying now? I'd be surprised if in any way they came out and said this was bad, or they'll probably say, "Oh no, the senseless violence must stop." But what I'm seeing is many of these people on the left have been lying about Kyle Rittenhouse nonstop. And we know, because we've watched the video and we've actually read the news, that he was defending himself. You can still argue it was wrong. You can still argue that he shouldn't have been out. All of those things are fine. But to act like he was a white nationalist militia member who was hunting people down in trucks, that's what they're saying. One person even said he killed 3 kids. That's just not what happened. It doesn't matter, though. I don't know what they'll say about this, but I'm assuming nothing. Because we've already seen people being beaten and we've already seen 30 dead before the latest extremist killings. The latest extremist involved killings, riot related deaths. And they've said nothing. And they've continually called for more. Ocasio-Cortez called for more. Kamala Harris called for more. Joe Biden called for more. I'm not making that up. Kamala Harris says they should keep going. AOC tweeted, stay in the streets, it's working. While people were dying in the riots, we found a corpse in a burnt down shop. When David Dorn was gunned down because somebody wanted to steal a TV, they had the nerve to say, keep going. You know what I've said? Stop. No, enough. You know what I said when people asked, I've been asked time and time again, what can we do to stand up against this, Tim? What can we do to stop this? I specifically said, do not engage and do not go out like this. You see, what happened last night was a large group of Trump supporters were rallying. They were driving their trucks through Portland. They're allowed to do that. This resulted in a lot of fights and conflict. This is exactly why I said it's not what you should do. However, I did say peaceful protest. So I guess I don't know what to tell you. I say peaceful protest, nonviolent civil disobedience, old ladies guarding statues. But for the most part, the only thing I've really ever said you need to do is speak up for yourself. The problem is, if you go into Portland, you know what they're looking for and you know what they want and you know the media is on their side. This guy died. A lot of people are going to be talking about it. And I think it's going to, this may be the shot heard around the world that gives Trump a landslide victory. And I think before any of this escalates into a full-on, full-scale war, Trump will win a resounding victory already. I got to tell you, man, some polls are coming out and it is shocking. I don't believe it. I'm trying to vet these polling institutions because I'm like, there's no way Trump is now nationally leading Biden by several points. There's no way Trump is leading in battleground states by 6 points, but these polls are starting to pop up. I'll tell you why. Because regular people can watch the video of a guy walking down the street and someone yelling, we got one, bang, bang. And it's scary. They're showing up to people's homes. And I said this was going to happen. And it's funny because, I do kind of mention this, but it is, I hate to say I told you so, right? That's not my intent. But I warned earlier this year that this is exactly what would happen. I warned, I was thinking about, I was talking to someone in my family, and I was thinking about several years ago when we saw the escalation in Berkeley with, people were holding a Trump rally and then Antifa shows up and beats people and throws explosives. This was several years ago, but I said, I think civil war is coming. And I said, I think by the time I'm 35, it will be, really just full on chaotic. I still don't know if that's true. I am not yet 35, but I will be 35 in about 7 months. So maybe I was right. What we're seeing right now, I can't imagine will de-escalate for one simple reason. Kyle Rittenhouse is being demonized and they're trying to arrest him. They did arrest him. They're trying to prosecute him. The McCloskeys were also charged, and I think they will not frame this properly. The media will inflame. They'll argue the guy was defending himself. They'll argue the guy who shot him wasn't actually part of Black Lives Matter or Antifa. Even after 30 people had died in these riots, they still kept saying Antifa's never killed anybody. 30 people were dead. Well, it's not Antifa. Right. They're going to show up to people's homes next. And they're already doing it. They've been doing it. I said this was going to happen. And again, it's not like I'm picking lottery numbers here, man. They started going to residential neighborhoods. And I said, how long until they go to someone's house? Then they did. Now, this guy who got killed, they identified him. It's like Scott Adams said, and everyone laughed, including me, when he said Republicans will be hunted. They're going to go to someone's house. That woman in Portland, she was wearing a stupid armband. I guess trying to incite or provoke. I don't know why she was doing it. And they still attacked her. I don't care what you do on your own property in your own house, as long as you're not hurting other people, even if I think it's disgusting. She was wearing a World War II German armband, I'll put it that way. It's ridiculous. But you're allowed to do it on your own property as long as you're not hurting anybody. And they physically attacked her. How long, when you see this, when a guy gets killed in the street, how long until they come to your house, because they are going to homes, and they see that Trump flag, and they see that MAGA 2020, or you come out and you're wearing something about law enforcement, and they say, him, we got another one, bang, bang. Right now it's in the street. They've already attacked people in their homes. So I'll put it this way. If I had to, extrapolate based on the trends from the past several years, the first bouts of physical violence erupted just before Trump got elected. We've in about 4.5 years, because it was before Trump got elected, it escalated now to people being killed in the streets. That says to me that we're a few years away from them going to your home and killing people in their homes. But because of the rapid escalation, I'd actually scale it down. So here's what I'm trying to say. From the first swing, the first punch that I saw in the 2015, beginning of the election cycle, to the point where they shot someone in the street, it has been 5 years. Now, they attacked a woman at her home a few months ago. If you want to scale that up to now they're going to people's homes, how soon, how long will it take for a punch to turn to a gunshot? I would say, hey, 5 years, right? Not necessarily. Because the escalation of the conflict, eventually they're going to say, you'll start hearing things from the left like, they're plotting, they're hiding. We have to weed them out where they're hiding and things like that. Right now, they're saying, confront them in the streets. Don't let them come to our towns. Keep the Nazis out. There's a video of a guy defending a building. He's just a regular guy standing in front of the glass, and someone yells, he's a Nazi. And they start punching him. That because no one cares if he really is, but they know that they're a mob and they can beat whoever they want and get away with it. I mean, there's a story from I want to show you some of what happened last night. We'll keep talking. Here's a story. One man shot, killed near downtown Portland protest Saturday. That's it. They say the man was shot around 8:45 p.m. near Southwest 3rd Avenue and Alder Street. The agency did not say whether the incident was related to demonstrations. We saw clashes erupting after a Trump rally in Clackamas. I mean, there are crazy videos. People brawling on highways. Far leftists blocking roads and cars just slowly pushing and then pushing them out of the way. But there's a video of people on a highway boxing and the cops run in and break it up. Andy No says, it sounds like someone is shouting, we got a Trumper right here, just before the shots are fired and the man is killed. I don't know if I heard that too, but it sounds like it might be the case. I don't think so. Some people think that's what it sounds like. It sounds like he's saying, he says something like, we got a something right here. Bang, bang. Speaker at leftist Kenosha rally, which was attended by the Democrat lieutenant governor, quote, if you kill one of ours, it's time for us to kill one of yours. Hours later, Trump supporter targeted, shot, and killed. I lived on Myrtle and Nostrand in Brooklyn. Just around Myrtle and Nostrand. I actually lived closer to Tompkins. In 2014, I believe it was, two cops, a Hispanic man and an Asian man were sitting in their car, and a black identity extremist walked up, killed two of them. Bang, bang. He had posted to Instagram, you take two of ours, we take two of yours. That sounds familiar to me. And that's what they did. That was the point of Portland, most likely. But when you get a tit for tat, what happens now? How long till the right says, you take one of ours, we take one of yours? To be honest, I don't think the right will do that. I think what the right will say is, you need to be prepared because they're killing us randomly, just walking up and shooting us. So wear your armor and get your guns ready. And then they'll be on edge. And the left will keep claiming they're the innocent victims. And the media will defend them. But maybe I think Trump's going to win. I think that gunshot last night might be Trump's landslide victory. No joke. You get a guy who comes out saying, support the police. That's what the Blue Lives Matter patch means. It's the thin blue line patch. It means I support the police. That's it. He had patriot prayer. So he was a Christian conservative, law enforcement supporter. They killed him for that. I think that makes up, a good portion of this country. But think about what that means for regular people. How many regular people are like, I like police? 82% of the black community wants the same level of police in their neighborhoods or a little bit more. The majority of people, like 80%, this is one of the polls I read previously, don't want to abolish the police. And we just saw a man saying support the police, executed, just right there in the middle of the street. Elijah Schaefer tweeted, more shootings tonight. We are in civil war. In the video, a man's walking down the street and you hear multiple gunshots ring out. I don't know what this was. It's not the other moment because this is multiple gunshots. But yep, throughout the night, gunshots were ringing out. We're going to see more of it. Donald Trump tweeted the National Guard is ready, willing, and able. All the governor has to do is call. You know what? I'm torn on this, but I lean towards agreeing with Trump. If Trump had invoked the Insurrection Act a long time ago, these people would not be dead. But it is overstepping in many ways the bounds of the federal government, but it is a challenge. A lot of Trump supporters have already said invoke the Insurrection Act. I got to be honest. I don't want any of these people to be hurt. And I'm horrified by what's happened so far with the multiple people who have died in the past couple of days. You know, I warned. I hope you're ready because the next round of riots are going to be way worse than the peak in June. And it is in a different way. In June, when they were going around smashing and looting, it was targeting property. Now it's targeting people. And though they are burning buildings in Kenosha, they weren't so much in Portland. They're just shooting people. But should Donald Trump intervene? You know, at a certain point, I still say no. No. Ted Wheeler said he rejected Donald Trump's offer for assistance. And then what happens? A man walking down the street, a Trump supporter, gets executed. Maybe Trump should have come in because his own supporter would have survived. But should Trump step on the rights of states and intervene in local matters? It's a tough question. And I would say, I don't know if we're at that point yet. I know it's tough. Because some high-profile individuals have already said, do it now. In fact, you can see the Insurrection Act trending right here. Look at this. On the tweet I've pulled up, 15,600 tweets saying Insurrection Act. I don't know if they're saying to invoke it. They probably are. Maybe Trump should have. I lean towards it is a last resort for when cities are completely, no longer functioning and people are shooting each other in mass. Right now, we've had a few tragic instances. It is up to the Democratic governors and mayors to stop this. The blood is on Ted Wheeler's hands. It's not Trump's fault. If Trump did not intervene, it is Ted Wheeler's fault. Trump said, I can come. He said, no. Ted Wheeler. The Democrats are to blame for this. If Trump gets reelected, and at this point, I believe it is a given, especially with what happened last night, I still don't think he should immediately invoke the Insurrection Act, but I believe it will come shortly after this because we will see mass violence across these cities. But what happens, and the reason I'll tell you why I'm not a fan of invoking the Insurrection Act, you know why? The far left is emboldened and they're insane. Donald Trump can come out with all the feds and National Guard, and they will then say, aha, Trump is the fascist, and that will kick off civil war. You can say we're in a civil war right now, but the best thing we can hope for is that the Democratic politicians stop the violence. I don't think they will, but I can tell you this. If Trump doesn't invoke the Insurrection Act, the violence will get worse. If he does, it will get worse much faster. So I don't know what the right move is. Perhaps Trump, I think if Trump invoked the Insurrection Act and deployed National Guard and federal law enforcement, you would end up with mass insurgency. There would be bombs being planted. People would be randomly shot in the street, targeted, things like that. Homes would be set on fire. And they would consider themselves the resistance against Trump's fascism because, well, they've been lying the whole time, claiming they're the innocent victims fighting against Nazis. And they would claim that Donald Trump is their leader. That's where we're headed. So I'm hoping that Donald Trump doesn't do this, but I'm not saying he shouldn't outright. I'm just saying for right now, we need the Democratic governors and mayors to stop this before it gets too late, before it goes too far. And we're dangerously close to it going. In fact, it may have already gone too far. They need to intervene now. I think they won't. I think they'll show up in D.C. I think we're going to see a lot more people die in this. 32 people. It is a lot for our tastes because we're not used to this many people dying. In some countries, it's in the thousands. I mean, I was in Egypt during the revolution, the second revolution. A lot of people died. A lot more people. And there were clashes in the streets. Eventually, the military got tired of the fighting and the destabilization, and they intervened and they removed, I believe at that point it was Morsi, and Sisi came in. The military has said they will not intervene in electoral dispute. So it sounds like Trump is going to take over. Like he's going to win and then take over in terms of the Insurrection Act and go to these cities, and there will be federal control of these areas. I don't know for sure. I'm not a prophet. Andy No posted this video, and this is what I'm saying. I am not sad that a effing fascist died tonight, says a woman at the Antifa gathering in downtown Portland. Do you think these people have been negotiating in good faith? They're not. When AOC says go out in the street and then you say, hey, wait, but people are dying. She goes, well, obviously we don't want that. And then the people she incited say, we're not sad, we're happy for it. And all of her supporters are cheering for it. And Project Veritas released footage showing Bernie Sanders campaign staffers saying, oh, the real fun will begin soon. I'm paraphrasing, being hyperbolic. His supporters said, we don't want people to know about the real crazy stuff, but revolution, nothing less. When Kamala Harris says they should not let up, that's a quote. They should not let up. What is she talking about? You think she's talking about peaceful hand-holding in the street? No. They're not negotiating in good faith. So what do? Protect your homes. Counter-protesters intercepted pro-Trump motorcade blocking their vehicles from advancing. They were in streets, in the highways, in Portland, blocking traffic. Here we have Shelby Talcott. Our evening was cut short and we are now at a very tense DC situation. My phone gets wonky. I was hit with something midway. They were marching into neighborhoods in D.C. Ian Miles Chong. Seattle Antifa mob makes its way down residential streets to shine lights into homes. They're coming to your neighborhoods. They did it in Chicago back in early June. They've been doing it nonstop for the past several weeks. I'm sorry, but it is only a matter of time before they start going to houses. You saw the video of them going to the woman at the diner, right? And raising their fist and demanding that she raise their fist. They're doing it more. Protesters are arguing with diners and MPD cops have showed up. They went to a woman and they raised their fist and screamed and demanded she raised theirs. I told you about how businesses in Berkeley put up Black Lives Matter signs because they don't want to get their windows smashed up. Eventually, it will be your home and they will demand you fly their flag and the police will do nothing to stop it. And they will say it's not political. Just like in Nazi Germany. And that's what they've been saying when they paint Black Lives Matter in the streets. They say it's about peace, love. It's not about politics. You know the origin of the swastika? It was some ancient symbol. They're going to say the exact same thing, and they're doing it. Now, obviously, I don't think they're the same as Nazis. I think they're authoritarians who have a zealous ideology based in identitarianism, and there are similarities. They will come to your house and they will look for your sign and they will start shooting at it. That's what they did to Cassandra Fairbanks. They showed up to her home with fireworks and fired bullets at it. Then their allies and media claimed it never happened. It did. There's evidence. The neighbor said so, the police said so, but it doesn't matter because the media has been covering for them, allowing them to expand and gain power. I can only assume it's because many in media are actually on their side. And that many Democrats think they can wield the one ring. They can't. The rings will eventually turn them into wraiths. They're slowly being consumed by the extremists. But in their desperation to stop Donald Trump, they turn to people they didn't quite understand. Some people who just want to watch the world burn. And some people who are like mad dogs chasing after a car and they wouldn't know what to do once they actually caught it. You get those references? Yeah, movie references. The point is, the left has been lying about what they're doing. They haven't been negotiating and speaking in good faith. They've been lying the whole time. They've been accusing the right of doing what it is they do. And they're doing it to manipulate the emotions of traditional liberals into supporting them. But I believe they may be going too far. And now the polls are swinging in Trump's favor. So I'll tell you this. While all of this may be scary, nightmarish, and it may seem like things are worse than they've ever been, the night is always darkest before the dawn. And because of the actions they have taken, and this, potentially the shot heard round the world in Portland, Donald Trump may landslide. And when he does, the far left insurgency will be crushed. We will have law and order on our streets. The economy will rebound and we will be stronger than ever. I believe that's where we're headed. Now, it's possible that we will still see insurgency, but I think in the end, Trump will likely win out. But we'll see. We have to make sure that in whatever happens, we do not allow authoritarianism to rise, be it on anyone's side. And we've already started seeing emergency laws enacted. Free speech must be protected. The right to peaceably assemble must be protected. The right to bear arms must be protected. Each and every one of our constitutional rights must be protected. And that includes the state as they seek to crush the extremists on the far left and shut them down. We must make sure they do not become the monster they have set out to destroy. Be careful when fighting monsters, lest ye become one. For when you gaze into the abyss gazes back. The next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.